Morning traders, welcome to another session of Market Snapshot. My apologies for our earlier video. We had some technical issues, but I believe that has been sorted out. So today is an interesting day because it's post NFP. We had some good news yesterday, and a good trader is one who always goes through the economic calendar. Remember, we have three types of analysis. We have the technical analysis, we have the fundamental analysis, and we have the sentimental analysis. So fundamental analysis is where you're looking through economic data, right? Go to Forex Factory, go to my FX book, go to trading economics, financial juice, financial visualization, all these websites to get a clear understanding of the possible impacts that are coming in. So as we have seen earlier today at around 10, we had the GBP news, CPI news that came out very negative for the dollar, right? For the pound, 3.2%, right? So the impact, we will see this impact in pound pairs. Anything that has GBP as the base currency has been affected, right, by this move. So without having much of red folders later in the day, then let's have a look at the USD pairs. Let's look at the market, because clearly, if you look at the currency strength meter, the USD is quite strong, right? So you can see someone who uses the currency strength meter, the GBP is weak, the dollar is strong. So trading GBP USD should be a sell, right? If you look at maybe a pair like NZDD, maybe GBP NZDD, right? This is also a sell. Why? NZDD is strong, GBP is weak. So this is also a tool that could guide you, but this is lagging. It's lagging data, but then it gives you some clues on which currency is playing where. So that's it with regards to the economics. Let's now go to our technicals and do some bit of analysis. The technicals, find out where the buyers are, find out where the sellers are, map out those areas. But remember, this is purely educational views. This is not investment advice, right? So let's get to it. So let's check our technicals. There we go. So we were looking at some analysis on GBP USD earlier on, and this was sorted out. Like, the market really came to an area we had defined as a sell area, right? This area was a sell area. Anyone who's attended our classes, they'll tell you that this area is called last week's high. So last week's high, there were some sellers, right? And this is what has led to that bearish move, right? So you can see the close of the candles. If you look at some of these candles, right, they were purely bullish, right, until this level. Yeah, buyers had hit this area. This played out yesterday during NFP, right? Some buyers came in strongly, but because of the presence of sellers, the last week sellers here, the selling pressure was so strong. Buyers tried to go past that area, but then the sellers were quite strong. And what happened is that bearish move. But now we want to see, we've seen the CPI news at 10, right? So if you look at this candle, the 10 a.m. candle, yeah, so this is 1 hour behind, right? But this is where now the CPI news has come out negative, and there was that dip that has led to this bearish move, right? So our work as traders, we had already mapped out possible areas where there are buyers. As you can see from the lines, these are areas we had mapped out, and they were mainly based on higher time frames. So if we go to, for example, the daily chart, if you go to the daily chart, you can see this order block, right, has been tested, and that's why you can see some bit of some bullish move playing out, right? You can see 33.22. Yeah, and then the other area is there's a line we set up. This one, there's a moving average, so there's a high likelihood GBP USD is coming here, right? It needs to test this area before maybe looking at a possible bullish move. So let's remove this analysis and look at it from higher time frames. which other areas could GBPUSD be coming to? So we can see this order block playing out. Yeah, that's the order block that has been tested, and you can see the reaction from the candles, right? They are closing with wicks, yeah, confirming that there are some buyers there. However, if I were to look for some other areas where there are strong buyers, I'll be looking at a possible move to the moving average, this one. 3291. That's an area where I see some very strong support on GBP USD. Right, we could encounter some buyers, but also we have some buyers here on this moving average, the 800 EMA at 3305. So I would rather work with that 291 if you're looking for that good entry. Right, so if GBP USD comes to that 291, then we could probably see some bullish move, and this area is also a few pips shy from last week's low, right? You remember what we've just seen how last week's high acted as a resistance on GBPUSD. So we now have last week's low at that 286, which is 5 pips from that 291, where we have some strong support. So these are two key areas where we would probably be looking at as a possible buy area on GBP USD. So if I were to map out this one, I would probably be looking at that as a possible exit area. So if GBP USD comes down to this area, then I'll be looking for a bullish move, almost 70 pips move on GBP USD. That's at least what I would want to see on this particular pair. Let's look at gold. What is gold doing? So initially, those who are in the mentorship class, you already know that you are looking for sell opportunities on gold. We had mapped out possible areas, this area and this area as exit areas, and also this one, right? So gold didn't hit this area. So what do we do? Let's map out gold afresh. Go to higher time frames. Remember, from higher time frames, gold is still a buy. So every downward move is giving us an opportunity to enter at a cheaper price, right? Because if we look at it from the weekly, that's the target on gold. We want gold to test the yearly high. That's the highest price that was set up in September, right? So that should be an area of interest for all of us, that there's a high probability gold is coming here. So our work is to wait for this downward move. Every downward move gives us an opportunity to enter a buy trade. But then where do you enter? So I would probably would want to see gold test yesterday's low. That's an area where I would probably want to see gold test before continuing with the possible bullish move. So if gold was to come down and test this area, then I'll be probably looking for buy opportunities. But remember, based on our sessions, you can't just take trades because they have come to the moving average or they have come to an order block. No, you need to look at other confirmations, and this is where, if once again, for those who've attended our mentorship classes and even the beginners class today, actually today I'll be training this strategy on the moving averages and how effective they are when used in the right context. But the confirmations are taking trades at the 70 region if you're looking for sell opportunities. So we can see some interesting view here. The last time gold came to the 70 region, there was a sell. The next day, when gold came to the 70 region, which is this move, there was a sell, right? And almost 400 pips, 500 pips, right? Yesterday, gold came to the 70 region, which is this, and then there was a drop to the moving averages. So you can exit even on the moving averages, right? And then earlier today, we had that move, which was this move to the RSI of the 70. So my work as a trader is to make sure that price comes to the, if I'm looking for buy opportunities long term, I want to see gold come to the 30 region, because the last time gold was on a 30 region was here, which was this move, and we didn't miss some pips. Actually, we saw 250 pips move on gold. So if this drop plays out, then on the other side we should see that move. Then from there we should now look at that possible bullish move. That's the play on gold. UT100, we had mapped out possible exit areas based on H4, and it was basically order blocks, right? So you can see on my left, there's an order block here that acted as support, and that led to that bullish move on UT100. So let's analyze UT100 afresh and see the possible moves that we could have today. So we can see UT100 being held on the moving average, right? So this is something we can see, a hammer on the moving average. And based on our past moves on the moving average in September, October, right? A bit of November, there was a move to the moving average that led to a bullish move. So we can say there's a possibility that there are some buyers here on this particular moving average. So let's see from the week, monthly. Okay. So if we go to H4, we have some area where we'll anticipate some moves. So if I were to look for opportunities on UT100, I'll be looking at that bullish move to possibly the high that was set up on Monday, this one. That could also act as a take profit target. Alternatively, you can use the 800 DMA as an exit area. These moving averages are very important if you use them in the right context. If you don't know where to exit, you can exit on them, right? When price gets to those moving averages. So that would be my outlook on UT100. Let's have a look at Euro USD. You can see what I was saying. Initially, we were looking for buy opportunities on Euro USD, and our target was this area, right, on the daily. So let's see what was on the daily that once price hit that move, that area, it dropped all the way to the moving average 96 pips. So you can see what I'm saying. Look at the moving averages here acting as support. That means they can also act as your take profit targets, right? So let's go to the daily. What was there on the daily? I looked to my left. I remember pointing this out. If there's anyone from the mentorship class, you remember I pointed out that there's an order block here that is yet to be tested, right? So this order block was clearly a strong area based on what we've seen, that 96 pips drop, right? So that is something, once again, that you really need to learn. Always have areas with sellers, have areas with buyers, and then operate with those areas. You're not gambling, right? You're trading, like with an effective strategy, a strategy that you can really explain even to a small kid, right? So that's the order block that was tested. And you can see how it was pinned. And then if you go to M15, you will see that price gave us the what? Our confirmation is the sell was on the 70, right? You can see that, right? The 70 region. And then there was now that bearish move to the moving average. So let's now analyze Euro USD. What are we looking at? Since that order block has been tested, the next area where we'll probably see a move is the yearly high. What's the yearly high on Euro USD? It's that one, right? This is the highest price of the year that was set up in, when was this? September, right? So we are still looking at buy opportunities on Euro USD. So our work as traders is to map out the area with buyers so that you can look for those buys. So you can see clearly the moving average here acting as a support area, right? So if we map out maybe this order block, has it been tested? This is what you'll call a bullish order block, right? The last bearish candle before a move up. So this is an area with possible buyers. So I would still want to see Euro USD come down and test this area before continuing with the buy move. So let's wait for the next move to this probably order block, and that would act as a buy area. So what's my analysis on this particular pair? I would be considering a bullish move if price comes to 1701, and the target will be yesterday's high, right? This one. You could also consider the moving averages. For those who are not patient enough, you can consider this moving average as an exit area for 45 pips. Or is it 43 pips, 40 pips, call them 40 pips. So these are possible exit areas, right? Or maybe let's work with this candle over here, 1755, that's around 50 pips, right? But overall, we're looking at a possible move to the yearly high, 1918. Okay, so that's Euro USD. We had also an analysis from a client who had requested that we analyze Euro AUD for them, and we were looking for buy opportunities from this low. This was from 10th December. That was last week, right? I think I did it here on YouTube. Someone had requested through the chat section, and I told them that if we only needed to go to higher time frames. So the moment we went to higher time frames, we saw a moving average, right? The 50 EMA. And remember, let me repeat this. I'm teaching this strategy tonight from 8 to 9 p.m. So just register through the link below. You can see some links. There is one that says learn to trade. Select that and go to the evening class, right? The 8 to 9 p.m. class. So I identified that there were some buyers on the moving average, and I looked at my past price movements. You see that is what we call technical analysis, where you study past price date movements to determine future. So in my past, I can see in February, price came to the 50 EMA, and there was a bullish move of around, I think, 1,000 pips. Yeah, it was, I think, 1,000 pips. Actually, it was 2,000 pips, right? So that is what led me to make this analysis that I would also want to see Euro AUD come down to this area, and there will be some buyers. And clearly, we can see the buyers play out, and they have given us so far 266 pips. Right? So we need to understand, why did we map out 77 70, right? So you can see that line tells us we need to go to the weekly. So what was on the weekly that led to this area acting as a take profit and also as a resistance area? There are some strong sellers. So if we go to the weekly, we will see that there was another block, this one, right? This candle over here is the one that was acting as a resistance, and that's why when price hit that area, so far we've seen a drop of how many pips on Euro AUD, and you can see how it pinned it exactly, and there was a drop. So far 83 pips on Euro AUD. So if we were to analyze Euro AUD, what would you be looking at? So you can see the moving averages once again acting as support areas. You can see this would have now been an exit area, right? If you sold on that order block, you could have exited on the moving average, either the 800 or the 200 moving average. Very effective when used with understanding. Yeah, very important. So let's analyze Euro AUD afresh. So we can see some key areas that where there could be some support, and one of those areas is the moving average, this one. And on my left, I can see an order block, right, at 76.50. So this could present a very strong buy area because we have a moving average one and we have an order block, a bullish order block. Remember, we've defined a bullish order block as the last bearish candle before a move up that broke structure. So this was a higher high, and this higher high was broken to form the next higher high up here, right? So the last candle that led to that is an area where you'll want to see price come to. So if Euro AUD was to drop, if it was to drop and come to this moving average, then it will give me more reasons to enter a buy, right? But before then, I'll just have to sit on my hands because that's the plan. Remember, in trading, you plan your trades and trade the plan. Very important. Plan your trades, trade the plan. And the target will be now yesterday's high, right? Yesterday's high is an area where you will exit on that particular pair. Could also map out maybe the high of December, which is also this one actually. The high of December is this one, which is yesterday's high actually. Let's see, is there another area where, oh yeah, I can see some area on the daily. You can see this one. This is another block. So Euro AUD could easily come to this area, 78.14. 78.14 is an area, a serious area of consideration, an area of interest because of this order block. So it could behave the same way after, as we have seen on the weekly. So this daily could act as a very strong sell area or a take profit area. So that will be my play on Euro AUD. Looking at a possible bearish move, this is where I'm considering we have some strong buyers, then a bullish move, 119 pips, then another move to 162 pips. That's it on Euro AUD. Let's see, which other pairs would you want me to analyze? Let me check out your conversations. GBP JPY, gold, silver, okay. Euro USD already done. CAD JPY, okay. Do you still have the offices in Europa? No. We closed that satellite office. What happens with gold? We've done the analysis on gold. Kindly go through the video. Okay, so let's have a look at GBP JPY. GJ is the reason why it's called the beast, right? GBP JPY, where are you? Should be somewhere here. Yeah. Okay, so there goes GJ. Go to higher time frames always because you want to have a clear understanding of where price is going. So remember, GJ tested last year's high, this one, and you can see the reaction, right? Closing in a week and then sellers took over. That's the power of this strategy, right? And once again, for those who don't have this strategy, just go to below this video. There's learn how to trade. There's a link. Go to that link and then join that class, the evening class. Yeah, the 8 to 9 p.m. class. So let's look at the daily. What are we looking at? Could we see a possible drop to last week's low? Yeah, this is last week's low on H4. Yeah, so if I were to look for opportunities on GJ, I'll probably want to see how GJ reacts to. One is also yesterday's low. This is yesterday's low. If you look at it from H1, you can see that area. There are some buyers over here. And then we also have last week's low. These are the two areas where I will be considering a bullish move. So if GJ gives us that, then maybe that could be a possible entry towards a buy. Then, like I've said, you don't enter blindly. Always make sure that you're trading based on confirmations. My exit will probably be on the moving average. Then we have what? I've seen another request. What was the request? Yes, Innocent, we've already analyzed the GBP CPI towards the start of the video. So just kindly have a look at it. I've talked about that CPI, and we can see the effect of that CPI on GU pairs, right? And sorry, pound pairs, anything with GBP. And this is what we analyzed on GBP USD and said that if GBP USD was to test these areas, then we could be looking at possible bullish moves. Yeah. So let's look at CAD JPY as we wrap up the session. So if there's anything that you need to learn from me is always go to higher time frames. You really want to have a clear directional bias. Why is the market going? So one, I want to map that area 115.12 on CAD JPY. Then come down to lower time frames. On the weekly, the yearly high has been tested already. On the daily chart, we have the month. This is what you call the monthly high. The highest price in the month of December was set up here. And let's go to the weekly. Sorry, to the, yes, to H4. Consider a bullish move. And then there's another block up here on H1. So clearly we are looking at buys, right? At least that is what the market is saying. You're looking at possible buys, but then where do we buy? I'll ask the question, right? So if CAD JPY was to drop and come to this moving average, if we were to see that drop, then I would consider that area as a buy area, and that will be my target. That's it on CAD JPY. Let's do USDCHF. Oh, I'm surprised we haven't done USDCHF. Okay, let's wrap this up with USDCHF. It's supposed to be here. Yeah. Chart window. Once again, this strategy is something that I'll be teaching tonight. Why is it that you can see price has come to the moving average and you can tell that there are some sellers here, right? You can see that move play out. Yeah. So let's have a look at on the daily. I would want to see price probably test this moving average. That's almost 29 pips from the current market price. There's still some strong sellers here, though here we can see some sellers. Let's see. Yeah, but strong sellers are actually above 80.09. This is a high probability area for me because, as we have seen, On the daily, there is that moving average, a very strong moving average that could act as a resistance. There's also another block there at 80.30, right? So your stop loss can be 80.35 or thereabout. So let's see that move. So I'll be looking at a bullish move. Then after that, you could probably see a sell to yesterday's low. But this order block is where I would want to see price come to. This one. You can see this order block here on H4, right? There's a high chance when we get here, we could see some buyers stepping in, right? So let's be on the lookout on that one. That's it, guys. Thank you for your time. The market is here to give us opportunities, but you really need to map out your areas, right? That's the most important thing. Map out areas with buyers, sellers, wait for the price to come to those areas, be patient enough, and then trade based on confirmations. If you don't have a strategy, don't make sure that you attend our classes. We have below this video, there's learn how to trade. Go to that link and then register for that evening class, right? The 8 to 9 p.m. class, and you'll definitely get to learn. Guys, bye bye. Cheers. Be bullish.